Digital disruption, reshaping value, ownership, and experience. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're examining one of the most defining economic and social phenomena of this era, digital disruption. This is not a trend, but a fundamental, structural change being driven by powerful technologies like AI, blockchain, and robotics. My analysis today will argue that digital disruption is characterized by three transformations: the redefinition of value through new asset classes, the reconceptualization of ownership and identity, and the transformation of labor in the service economy. Our investigation seeks to move beyond the hype and apply rigorous academic scrutiny to three real world changes. We must recognize that the velocity of these technical integration is creating unprecedented changes for established organizations and regulatory bodies alike. Throughout the presentation, I will draw on foundational and contemporary academic sources to critically analyze the disruptive force shaping our future, ensuring a comprehensive and scholarly approach that goes far beyond the surface level observations. To fully explore this complex topic, I've structured the presentation into four distinct yet interconnected sections. We begin with the theoretical foundation, where we will establish a clear framework for defining digital disruption. We will also critically assess its relationship to Christensen's seminal theory. This will be followed by the core of a presentation, a deep dive into three specific real-world case studies. We will analyze the impact of non-fungible tokens on economic ownership, the role of virtual influencers in fracturing market identity, and the implementation of robotics in disrupting service sector labor. Each of these case studies will be supported by its dedicated critical analysis. Finally, we will synthesize the collective findings, addressing the cross-cutting ethical and governance challenges that arise from this continuous state of technological flux. To analyze disruption accurately, we must be precise. The academic community differentiates between three levels of digital transformation. Firstly, digitization, the transformation of information from analog to digital. Secondly, digitalization, which is the application of digital technology to improve existing operational processes. Digital disruption, however, is the radical third stage. It involves the use of digital technologies to create new business models and redefine customer value, fundamentally restructuring market forces. As argued by Yo, Henfredson, and Lentinen in 2010, the key differentiating factor is the combinatory nature of these technologies. Unlike previous single-factor disruptions, today's technologies converge rapidly. AI enhances robotics, which feeds into data, into digital platforms, which sometimes gets tokenized by blockchain. The foundation of disruption theory lies in Christensen's 1997 work, which said that disruption innovations typically begin as simpler, cheaper offerings to low ends of the market, which officials initially ignore as they focus on high margin, sustaining innovations. However, the digital context complicates this model considerably. According to Karimi and Walters in 2015, the current digital disruption is frequently characterized by high velocity and the ability to affect multiple layers of an organization. At the same time, a company's core product, its customer relationship, and its internal operations are all affected. This means the threat can be both imminent and existential, immediately affecting even the most successful high-end markets. While Christensen provides a theoretical foundation, the environment of digital integration requires a more nuanced, dynamic approach to research. Our first major case study is the non-fungible token, or NFT. Built upon blockchain technology, an NFT is a unique cryptographical secure digital token that certifies ownership of an asset. The core disruption here is a profound one. The re-engineering of digital ownership. Historically, any digital asset was infinitively reproducible, making the traditional economic concept of scarcity and property difficult to enforce. NFTs solve this problem by introducing artificial scarcity to their non-fungibility. This mechanism allows the creation of new assets and revenue. As Dowling 2022 notes in his detailed financial analysis, NFTs have emerged as a unique asset class, carrying higher risk and volatility than traditional assets, but fundamentally providing unique identifiers and undisputed claims about digital ownership. NFTs have changed the way value is seen, from having a physical art piece to maybe now having a virtual art piece in the meta world. The most impactful case study involves high-profile adoption of NFTs by established institutions, most notably Auction House Christie's. The 2021 sale of Blairpool's digital collage, Every Day, the first 500 days, sold for nearly 70 million. This was disruptive because it granted mainstream legitimacy to a purely digital art form, challenging centuries of traditions that privileged physical objects. The NFT mechanism provided both a verifiable provenance and unmutable record of ownership, solving the persistent problem of authenticity of digital assets. Furthermore, this disruption didn't just affect the market, it also challenged the traditional power structure. NFTs allow creators to transact directly from creators, bypassing many of the traditional gatekeepers, the galleries, the critics, and the agents, who previously mediated value and access to art world. This is a clear case of decentralization challenging the centralized authority. Another popular example of an NFT is the Bored Ape, which Neymar, a well-known Brazilian footballer, bought for over 1.1 million. While initially NFT market was notoriously driven by speculative hype and volatility, a critical analysis must focus on the core long-term disruptive utility. This utility is best captured by the concept of programmable ownership. By smart contracts, NFTs can embed automated rules into the access code. For example, they can grant the original creator a royalty every time the asset is resold on a secondary market. This capability is fundamentally transformative. As Nadini et al. 2021 highlighted, NFTs introduce unprecedented flexibility for creators to monetize secondary transactions, shifting economic power dynamics. Beyond royalties, this utility extends to providing token-granted access to exclusive digital communities or events, turning a simple digital asset into a dynamic access pass. The true disruption lies in the technology's capacity to automate trust and economic incentives for a long term. No critical analysis of NFTs can ignore the ethical and environmental challenges. Early platforms relying on energy-efficient proof-of-work blockchains faced intensive scrutiny over the massive carbon footprint. This criticism forced a crucial internal disruption within the technology itself, accelerating shift towards more energy-efficient models like proof-of-stake. Beyond environmental concerns, the market collapse of 2022, where many collections fell to zero value, exposed the high risk and regulatory vacuum. Academic research on the financial risk notes that despite the potential of high return, the lack of regulation contributes to extreme volatility. This highlights a fundamental tension: the disruptive power of digitization conflicts with the social needs for stability and customer protection. The technology is disruptive, but its ethical and economically sustainable remains subject to the ongoing intense debate. Our second case study focuses on disruption of identity and marketing authenticity through virtual influencers. These are computer generated, often AI powered personas with human-like characteristics. Virtual influencers disrupt traditional celebrity endorsements and marketing by offering brands absolute control over their messaging. The core disruption here is that marketing is no longer tethered to a human's unpredictable personal life. As explored in academic literature on digital personas, virtual influencers are emerging as a transformative force in the digital marketing. They leverage high anthropomorphic design and stimulated social media presence to engage audience, blurring the lines between synthetic and real. Their very existence challenges our understanding on who or what can be authoritative and influential voice in the public sphere. A prime real-world example is Lil Miquela, a CGI persona with over 3 million followers and has secured major brand partnerships with high fashion and lifestyle companies like Prada and Calvin Klein. Michaela is the ultimate marketing asset because she ensures the perfect brand alignment. She never faces public scandal, she never suffers from fatigue, and her personality is precisely engineered to target specific demographics. From a managerial perspective, virtual influencers offer cost effectiveness and easier management compared to human celebrities, as noted in the research done by Journal of Interactive Marketing. She has also worked with human models like Bella Hadid for her Calvin Klein project. This case demonstrates a powerful strategic disruption. Brands can utilize a persona that is aesthetically flawless and completely obedient, maximizing engagement and minimizing the inherent risk and human unpredictability of traditional endorsements. Critically, a successful virtual influencer is limited by social and psychological barriers, primarily the uncanny valley effect, where something is near human but imperfect realism triggers a sense of discomfort. More importantly, academics consistently question the ability of virtual influencers to foster genuine customer trust. As discussed by Sands et al. 2022, human influencers often outperform virtual ones because credibility relies on trustworthiness, expertise, and perceived authenticity. While virtual influencers can generate an initial novelty and high engagement, the lack of real-world essence makes establishing deep, sustained trust difficult. This is a crucial limitation of the disruption. The technology can fabricate projects, but it cannot fabricate humanity, which is essential for certain marketing contexts. Virtual influencers dominate in fields requiring aesthetic perfection and constant on-brand message. However, the unique value of human influence, the ability to show empathy, share complex personal narratives, and improve effectiveness remains critical. The future of influence economy will be a hybrid system. New roles will emerge for human strategies and for writers who are required to manage and lend souls to these virtual personas. Our final case study focuses on robotics and automation, a disruption targeting labor and operational efficiency within service and event sector. While this is less glamorous than the metaverse, it is a massive economic force. We are examining RAISA, robotics and AI powered service automation, being integrated into logistics, security, and maintenance. This is highly disruptive to the traditional human centered service model. Robots are increasingly available to perform repetitive, high volume, physical demanding, and dangerous tasks, offering superior speed, precision, and consistency compared to human labor in these specialized areas. The aim is to eliminate human error and dramatically reduce operational cost and time. Our real-world case focuses on logistics and operation of large-scale events such as music festivals, major conferences, and stadium operations. For example, autonomous car robots are used for venue maintenance, while drone technology is deployed for security mentoring, crowd flow analysis, and ensuring public safety. In logistics, robotics are used in temporary warehousing for staging materials, accelerating setup and teardown timelines. This scenario directly impacts traditional labor. Studies like those by Acemoglu and Restepro 2017 examine the impact of robots on US labor markets, indicating a negative displacement effect in areas where robots perform routine tasks previously done by human workers. This disruption is a direct economic calculation based on labor cost savings and efficient gains, fundamentally challenging the cost structure of large-scale physical events. However, this disruption has a clear ceiling in the service sector. A critical analysis reflecting on the long-standing theory in event management emphasizes the persistence of the human factor. As scholars exploring automation in the event sector content, high-touch customer service roles often embody tasks requiring compassion, empathy, and complex emotion connection, areas where robots provide poor substitutes. In event management, humans are indispensable for crisis management, improvisational problem solving, and providing warm, empathetic service that defines guest experience. The disruption, therefore, primarily affects the back of house tasks, leaving the highly valued front of house customer experience roles to human workers who complement the machines. The academic consensus on robots and labor is that it represents the polarization and transformation of work. As scholars like Qureshi 2018 argue, automation creates as many jobs as it takes over time, but it shifts compensation. While robots displace assembly and routine works, they create new, highly skilled jobs for technicians who program and maintain these machines. Bringing our three case studies together reveals a powerful synthesis of digital disruption. We have seen blockchain with NFT challenging the concept of asset ownership and digital value. We saw AI CGI with the virtual influencers challenging the basis of identity and trust in the market, and robotics challenging the structure of labor and operational efficiency. The collective impact is profound. This visual matrix confirms that the true disruption is not singular, but a convergence of these technologies, creating complex feedback loops that continually undermine the relevant established business models. The speed and slope of this convergence is what makes it historically unique and mandates a continuous strategic response from organizations. The unprecedented speed of digital disruption has created governance vacuum. This lack of regulation presents significant ethical challenges that demand academic policy attention. In conclusion, the key takeaway is that digital disruption is no longer an occasional phenomenon. It is a permanent, continuous state of market flux. We must shift our mindset from thinking about a single transformative event to anticipating continuous systematic turbulence. As articulated by Will and Warner 2015 in their research on digital operating models, organizational success now hinges on the ability to cultivate dynamic capabilities, the capacity to sense technological shocks, and repeatedly pivot strategies and continuously reinvent the business model.